Well, folks, good day to you one and all. And a slightly delayed start for 6 hours of Road America. Everything's fine in America. It's just with our local ESCOM doing us no favors whatsoever in terms of getting our racing going on a Sunday. Good afternoon to you one and all. It's going to be 6 hours of a Road America. We've just started with the qualifying session. Joining us, Mike Side, the voice of Westcombs Motorsport. Frank Guinness will be joining me today here in the second year production studios. Frankie, with limited information to hand, thanks to ESCOM. Let's learn as we go, and good afternoon to you.
Yes, Gary, good afternoon, and hello to everybody else that's watching this production. It is the second one for 2022, and it's a 6 hour of Road America. And the temperature 18 degrees, no rain, clear skies, 2k an hour winds, and we come to you from Elkhart Lake in the USA, altitude 325 meters above sea level, and track temperature will be 50 degrees Celsius. The length of the circuit is 6.41 kilometers long. As we get ready for this one, the drivers are in their qualifying session already. They've done 2.5 minutes. And that is Luke King in the Dotsoft Racing LMP2, the sports prototype, making his way around. And there is Luke Lucchese in the Team Pantera Racing LMP2 Dallara. Peter Hubert out there as well for Team Hubert Racing in the Masters category. He's Peter Hubert, so nearly 3 minutes done, Gary, as we now look at Atinachel.
Yeah, Atinachel, one of the first guys to go the whole hog and put a face shot up there for us as well. Next man we look at on circuit, Raymond Duggan, IRSA Green. IRSA put numerous teams into it. Unfortunately, for those of you wondering where are the Bears, they are not in this specific event. They have gone hunting for the weekend. Jeff Hancock's team Try Hard Racing, and that's going to be a pretty interesting one to watch. A slight change up in the team Try Hard Racing and heat together again with some of the drivers not available for today. Mario Kowars, and we got to know Mario at the last 6 hour event, and he's no slouch out there whatsoever. In the Masters class, Stephen McCarthy in the 8-ball 24/7 and the Sujin Properties outfit. And then I see Gallagher Chris is not up on screen at the moment, and then Willem Pina also out there as well. That's Robbie Teens with the Bolt Racing team. And as those of you that follow on a regular basis will know, you go out, you do your sighting lap, your warm-up lap, and then when you finish your second lap, you then get a lap time that comes up. So, interesting. Well, it's Julian from the RS. That's the first man to put up a top time, a 1 minute 50.9. I can tell you that in last night's practice, the likes of Luke King with Luke Lucchese, and then Troy Dolenchik actually got down to sub 1 minute 49s, which was utterly brilliant stuff. But that's practice on practice on practice. So it takes a bit of time to get to that. In fact, talking about Luke Lucchese, there's Luke Lucchese. He's out on circuit. He hasn't completed a second lap to be able to get it up there. And believe you me, he's going to be probably the fastest of the Masters, keeping in mind that he's in there with Captain Pete Peter van der Spey. He's sitting up on the mountain there in Cape Town side of the world, and he's the teammate for Luke Lucchese, who's undoubtedly the fastest of the Masters drivers out there to date. Raymond Duggan, also a man that's gone from strength to strength and just getting quicker and quicker race for race. Jeff Hancock's nice to have him out there in the series as well. And then I see Jan Spammers has also now come up on screen as well. So the big hitters, Luke King, Byron Mitchell, June from the RS, and Peter Hubert already in there, waiting for Luke Lucchese, and then the likes of the young flyer from Cape Town karting side of the world to come in and put his lap time in there as well.
But that's Jan Spommers making his way around in the team heaped together Lynx outfit. That's car 000 of Jan Spommers, and the times are beginning to come through already. Familiaris has done a 1:55.32. That's the quickest time out there so far for Julian Familiaris, with Byron Mitchell on a 1:55.95 and Luke King on a 1:56.38. Luke Lucchese on a 1:58.87, and they are the only four drivers so far with 6.5 minutes done. That is in the very mid to high 1 minute and 50 seconds. So Familiaris representing Durant Motorsport in car number 9. He is the quickest driver out there. There's Byron Mitchell in car 12, also from Durant Motorsport. So they are the first two drivers out there that are the quickest on track. Luke King is the third fastest so far. So as the 6 hour progresses, I'm sure Gary will get hold of Garth de Villiers as well, like we did at the last event. He can tell us more about what his drivers are doing for the Durant Motorsport team, as well as other drivers as they come off the track. We'll have a chat to them. Now that's a lovely outfit we just saw on the previous car, the color scheme of that motor car of Luke King. That is the old Mazda rotary colors that when they did Le Mans back in the day, that made that Mazda car so famous. You can see the Mazda sign on the front end of that Luke King Dallara. That's the Mazda sign. And this LMP2 Dallara is in that same color scheme of that Mazda that did Le Mans somewhere in the 1990s. I'm not 100% sure exactly when. And as we talk about Luke King, he does the quickest time out there, Gary, with a 1:54.20.
Oh, Byron right in there as well with Luke Lucchese. I don't see that the young Tartan flyer from Cape Town, Troy Dolenchik, he's not out doing qualifying at the moment now, but believe you me, Luke King, Luke Lucchese, and young Troy Dolenchik were the quickest with the practice last night. Byron Mitchell coming on board as well. Fantastic to have him in there. So with Byron and Julian from the RS, that's going to be pushing pretty hard. See, Johan Engelbrecht's out there as well. Nice to have him in. And then another one of the older hands in the likes of Stephen McCarthy. 8 minutes of 46. That's gone down already. LMP2s, everybody in LMP2s for today's race. Now, initially, when we started with a 6 hour, there are two different types of vehicles that was used. And one for the elite, one for the masters. And it was later on decided by holding a second, let's go and put them all in the same cars, so we could see there the leaders in the different classes. Once they get it all sorted out after the qualifying, you will see that box will indicate who's the fastest in the elite and who is the fastest in the masters class as such. Half a minute to go till the end of quali.
Stephen McCarthy is in that 13th position so far in the April 24/7 and Sujin Properties. That's the number 8 LNP2 Dallara, and he's on a 1:53.060. There is 10 seconds left in the qualifying session. Then the checkered flag will come out. We're running a little bit late with the qualifying session. There was obviously a few glitches somewhere, and that's why the qualifying session started late. We should have been 25 minutes into the race already. But the official qualifying session is done and dusted. And wow, Dotsoft Racing, Luke King is the man that's there in pole position, with Luke Lucchese on his outside. And the second row of the grid, Julian Familiaris, Byron Mitchell, third row, Peter Hubert and Jan Spommers.
Wow, that is a very quick front lineup, no doubt about it, with Raymond Duggan and Atti Nagel on the next row of the grid, 7th and 8th, Johan Engelbrecht and Mario Kawaz, with Jeff Hancox and Willem Pina rounding out the top 12 qualifiers.
Row 7 is Stephen McCarthy and Janeman Prius. Looks like we've only got 14 teams that is out there for this one, as we say a big thanks to Second Gear Productions, to Gary and also to Gavin in his absence. He's also very much part of the Second Gear Productions, even though he's sitting in the USA. We say a big thanks to him as well because he plays a major role when he is here at home. So we're about to go green pretty soon, Gary, as the safety car will take them off the line.
Yep, this is going to be pretty good stuff. Let's have a look from upstairs. That's what it looks like. So Luke King is going to be the man that's going to be leading out the elites, and Luke is going to be the man that's leading out the masters as such, and they bedeck the front row of the grid. The second row of the grid is from the RS and Byron Mitchell. Wow, can you get a stronger lineup than that? That's utterly brilliant. Then it is Piri Ube and Jan Spammers that's in there. So in the front 6 positions, that means that there is 3 masters and 3 elites. What a brilliant drive. And if you think initially the youngsters were cleaning up, well, the O-Bullies are starting to get into the picture now.
Well, there was a call for Iwan Fourie to take part in the endurance by Mike in the week, but it's pretty clear that Iwan Fourie does not enjoy the endurance session. So we'll have a look and see as we are about to go green pretty soon. So it's a Ford Mustang that is the safety vehicle that is taking them around Road America. As Luke King comes through, there is Luke Lucchese, Byron Mitchell. We follow Mario Kowals around, and he is the man that is in that 6th position in car number 7, and he is in the elite category. The yellow blocks is the elite category, and the blue blocks is the masters. For those people that don't know, elite is drivers under the age of 40, and the masters is drivers 40 years and older. That's how they split them. They call the one group elite, and the other group gets classified as masters.
Well, a big thanks to Zambezi Bucky Center. They are the main sponsor of this 6-hour enduro event, and wow, that's a big thanks to them. I tell you what, Zambezi Bucky Center, not a known name to us, but by the end of the day, believe you me, we'll be aware exactly who, where, how, and what, and that is linked to the Ube family. So the McCarthy's, the Ubes, the Lucchese's, all of these people that getting into various, the Bacaris, all of these guys that are getting involved in the background and just making it all possible for us to do what we do. And then also big thanks to the Big Six, head up there by Captain Peter van der Spey for helping to get all the necessary equipment and backups together. Luke Lucchese will be in during the course of the week to have a look, see what the problems are with our electronic backup systems, and we'll make sure that that is all 100% good to go for the future. Seeing we can't rely on our energy suppliers for South Africa, we rely on our own people to make it possible to go live when, where, and how we want to. Frankly, 6 hours, it's going to be awesome stuff, and as they lined up there, not the biggest field we've ever had, but probably the most prestigious field we've ever had. And once again, the Outoppies, what they call them, the Outoppies are going to take on the power of the young guns.
Luke Lucchese forms part of that Outoppies, as you call them, and Peter Hubert and Jan Spammers, Johan Engelbrecht, Willem Pina, and Mike Verrier. They are the drivers with the blue. The masters, the elites, are the guys under 30. They've got the yellow. And there is Luke Lucchese. He is there in that 2nd position in LMP2 Dallara number 2, representing Team Pantera Racing. And that is his car that we're looking at now at that right rear suspension of that Dallara. And we are still being led around by the Ford Mustang that is the safety vehicle or pace car that is taking us around. And yes, a big thank you to Zambezi Bucky Center for sponsoring the 6-hour of Road America.
Well, we're just about good to go. Let's put a track back up there that we can see where the boys are. There they are. That is the front main, and where that little red line is, that is where we're going to wait for the lights to go on.
Right, so we're about to go green shortly. The safety vehicle will peel off. It has peeled off, and the flag will go down. And 6 hours of Road America's underway, thanks to Second Gear Productions and sponsored by Zambezi Bucky Center. And it's Julian King that sits out there in P1 with Familiaris in that second position. And then we've got Byron Mitchell. Lucchese's dropped right down. He was on the front row of the grid, so he's lost out a couple of positions. Luke, he sits there in that fourth position at this point in time, but it's all about Luke King sitting up there in P1, Familiaris in second, Byron Mitchell for Durant Motorsport is there in that third position, and then Peter Hubert. What has happened to Luke Lucchese? Lucchese still sitting up there in that fourth position in car number 2. Then Peter Hubert sits out there as they're busy making their way now around. They are now starting. Oh, there's an issue out there, and Peter Hubert is involved in that one. That's a pretty big one with Peter Hubert. He was off the circuit there in the 22 car, the Benson and Hedges sponsored LMP2 Dallara, and that will drop him all the way to the tail end of the field. They have a replay. I think he and Atti Nagel got involved in a situation. Atti Nagel in that 88 iRacing car. No, well, Hubert lost it all by himself and then turned himself square right in front of Atti Nagel.
Going back to the front end of the field, Luke King, the man that's on screen there, leading them out and doing a pretty decent job. As Frankie said, that Mazda Road to Colors, beautiful stuff. Nice to see that. Julian Familiaris right there in that second position. So the young guns are really doing well at this stage of the fight, because the next man in behind that is in fact Byron Mitchell. And Byron Mitchell also blindingly quick on the iRacing and on main circuits as well. Keep in mind, you can never count this man out, Mr. Luke Lucchese, the fastest lap time being put up right now. Remember, this is on full tanks, so 1 minute 55.448 by Luke King. So that is a pretty slow time in terms of what they were doing with the qualifying session. Raymond Duggan, he finds himself fifth on track and fourth overall in class. Raymond Duggan on the IRSA Green team. Then the second of the Masters is Jan Spammers. And Jan Spammers is sixth on track, second overall behind Luke Lucchese, with Raymond Duggan in a different class in there between them. You can see on the track map the colors that is yellow and the ones that are blue. That shows you where exactly they are on the circuit. And the one that's in green is the vehicle that we are actually on. So going back to the front end of the field, let's have a look at some of the incidents that have happened so far. And well, one of the big guns that's been in the incident is in fact Johan Engelbrecht in the Denso car. Looks like he comes up on the outside and he's going to get just nibbled on the front nose. And a 3 or 4 way battle that ensues there. Make that 5 cars involved with that one. So that was a bit of a biggie. Willem Pienaar was also involved in an incident as well. Let's see if that is part of the same incident. Probably you'll find that it is. Yep, that group of cars that's in front, he just rides straight into the scene of the accident. He had nowhere to go from there. So hopefully not too much damage on those motor cars. As we go back to the front end of the field, Luke King, as he comes across the start-finish line to finish yet another lap, is Luke King. And there he comes across the start-finish line, and he finishes a lap. But it's pretty close in there behind him. Look there, Julian Familiaris, that's following through with Byron Mitchell. So that be teammates that's out there. The Durant Motorsport guys, we will have a chat with Garth Villiers during the course of the race as well. He's the mentor, the man behind it, the brains, the calculations, you name it. And in fact, he was on just after 10 o'clock last night, helping with some of the settings to ensure that we get it all right. Pretty much of a guru on the engineering side is Garth, and coming to the rescue on numerous occasions in terms of getting information collection to be able to get his team to the front end of the field. Don't ever forget about this man, Luke Lucchese.
Yeah, never write that man off, Luke Lucchese. So we are here at Road America. As a matter of fact, Luke King's now heading into what they call the carousel, as he worked his way into that carousel. And there is Luke Lucchese Sitting first in the Masters category is Luke Lucchesi in that number 2 car, but working his way around. So the leaders are heading through the carousel, and then they make their way down that path that they refer to as Kettle Bottoms, and that is heading now towards the end of the lap. So Luke Lucchesi for Team Pantera Racing, he is 1.6 seconds behind Julian Familiaris. That is out there on the circuit, and then behind him is Raymond Duggan, and he's got a sizable lead there on Raymond Duggan. There is Jan Sparmers, the man that we are looking at, and he's 2.4 seconds is Jan ahead there of Mario Cobors. That is not too far behind him, and there is Jan in that the 000 LMP2 Dallara, and Durant Motorsport car is the quickest driver out there, and they have done a 1:56.97, and that is pretty good for them. They are sitting in first and second, and that is Byron Mitchell. That was the fastest man out there for Durant Motorsport.
So second overall in the Masters, the team heaped together. That is Jan Sparmers. That's lying second overall behind the Team Pantera, which is the man that's out on circuit now, which is in fact Luke Lucchesi. Going just a little bit further back in class, the 8-ball 24/7 and Sujin Properties car, that is Mike Berrier himself, that is out there. That's in the number 8 car. In fact, he's all over the back of the 7 and trying to make a move there on Mario Kawar. So he's not only fighting in the class, but also to get overall placing as well. Peter Hubert lying 4th overall, and that is representing Team Joubert Racing. So some of the Jouberts have made it back and joining us. So Team Joubert in the 22 car, my favorite number I've raced with all the years, and my son as well. So it's a very favorite number, that one. Then the Gazoo car in behind that, having had that incident earlier on, that is the 99 car, and that is in fact Johan Engelbrecht. Now we saw earlier on he was involved with that pile-up where he literally had nowhere to go. It was one of those things. But with the amount of time that he is still out there on circuit, definitely a possibility of them moving themselves further forward. Valentina also out there as well, and Valentina is representing the teams of Bolt Racing, so he will be in there with the Robbie teams, well, of Valentina, and that rounds out pretty much the Masters drivers and teams going back to the front end of the field. The young guns are doing a brilliant job. It's Luke King that leads them out. Look at that. You can see the green dot on the track on the right-hand side. First, second, and third very, very close to one another. And it's the elites, Frankie, that is leading out at this stage of the fight. The fastest lap of 150.541. So very close to qualifying time. But although it's on new tires, it's on full tanks. So you can expect to see that coming down and tumbling a little bit later on.
Yeah, he sits out there in P1, and he's only 9/10 of a second ahead of Byron Mitchell, that is in that second position. So he looking in the Dot Soft Racing outfit with that Mazda Lamar color scheme, and there comes Durant Motorsports. Byron Mitchell is only a second behind him. As a matter of fact, yeah, he's right in there with him. He's going to actually put a lap on Jana Mamprius soon, will be looking. So Jana Mamprius is not doing all that great out there. They're going to actually have a go with him somewhere. But there's Familiaris. Julian sitting out there in that third position. And there's 3/10 of a second between Mitchell, that is ahead of him, and himself. So Familiaris is right on the case there of Byron Mitchell. So the two Durant Motorsport boys are sitting on each other's cases in second and third position. Then we can have a look at Luke Lucchesi in car number 2 for Team Pantera Racing. He is way up there in the Masters category, and not too far behind Familiaris, I might add as well, is Luke Lucchesi. There, the first 3 go into that right-hander, and that is now been working their way towards turn number 2. That's coming out of turn 1, and you go straight up there, then you turn into turn number 2. And there is Luke Lucchesi in that third position. So you can see the 3 leaders that is now making their way down towards that left-hander.
Well, there we go. As there's the front three as they come down towards turn number 5. There you see Luke Lucchesi coming into screen now as well. So Luke Lucchesi not been able to hold on to the youngsters at this point, but you can see they're all still in the same picture frame at this stage of the fight. And you can see exactly what the difference is between them as they work their way up into turn number 8. Sharp 90-degree left-hander, and there comes Luke Lucchesi, and then going into that very tight section, you've got to be very accurate to carry the speed coming through there, and then through turn 10, which is going to take you down towards the King.
Yeah, they're busy making their way out of the carousel and heading down the Kettle Bottoms now towards the Canada corner. And there's 3.7 seconds between the man in third position and that man you see coming into frame there, namely Luke Lucchesi, as they make their way out of Canada corner, racing down through what they refer to as Thunder Valley, and then into Bull Mitchell Bend, and then from Bull Mitchell Bend they'll go into turn 14, which is the final corner, and then they will run down the home straight back up there in towards turn number 1, which is a 90-degree right-hander. So that is them coming down that main straight, that group of cars going down the home straight and going into turn 1. The top two has really made their way up into turn 1, and there's Luke Lucchesi in that fourth position, 4.1 seconds behind the combination of King Mitchell and Familiaris. So he is in touch with them. If any one of these guys make a mistake, if any one of these drivers put a wheel out of line for now, then he will certainly pounce on them. A big thanks to Zambezi Bucky Center for the main sponsor for this event, as well as Gary of Second Gear Productions. So we're sitting there with Luke King, that's in that second position, and there's a replay of Byron Mitchell, and that's the reason why Luke King is in that second position, because Byron Mitchell lunged up there on his inside, and we have a new leader, Durant Motorsports. Byron Mitchell sits out there in P1 with Luke King in second, Familiaris in third. Fourth is Luke Lucchesi, and Luke is still leading the Masters. As a matter of fact, Jan Spammers is sitting second in the Masters, and Mike Verrier is there in third.
So, we always knew it was going to be interesting, but we didn't expect it to play out like this. We would have expected Luke Lucchesi to be a little bit closer to the front end of the field. Let's just look at the intervals which we have to date. If we go to the overall standings like that, and there gives you an indication as to Luke Lucchesi that's leading out on the class, but only fourth overall out there on circuit. So, Frankie, is the main sight to win the class, or is it to win the race overall?
Well, I suppose you want to win the race overall. I mean, you yourself is an ex-racing driver, and obviously you want to win overall. But I suppose class victory is the most important thing here at the end of the day. And I love that caption that we're seeing over there. That is the one that we need to see with our battle box down there as well. So Mitchell sits out there in P1, and he's 0.4 of a second ahead there of Luke King in that second position. Familiaris is in that third place, and he is all over him. And here comes Julian Familiaris. He wants that second place. He wants Team Durant Motorsport to be in P1 and P2, but Luke King has got other ideas, but this will allow Mitchell to clear off into the countryside. So Familiaris wants to come through. He wants that second position. He has to make the move on Luke King pretty soon. Luke King doing pretty well. As a matter of fact, then we got Luke Lucchesi that's there in that fourth position, and he's sitting overall first in the Masters category. And there isn't really much between him and Familiaris. There's a little bit of a gap between Familiaris in third, but it is all happening up front there between King and Familiaris. Oh, there was 0.02 of a second at one stage between the two of them, and Julian wants to go through. He's now 0.2 of a second behind him as we watch that number 2 car busy making its way around. In fourth position, that is Luke Lucchesi. But we go back to this battle between Familiaris and King just there ahead of him as they make their way down the main straight into turn number 1, working their way out of turn number 1. And Byron Mitchell is going to pick up Yaneman Prius. We just saw Yaneman Prius go through there. He's the last guy out on track as Yaneman Prius, and there's only 2.3 seconds between himself and the man that's about to lap him, namely Byron Mitchell.
Well, the pressure's pretty much on now for Luke King. Luke King was leading it out and looking pretty good. But the Durant Motorsport boys, I think they're working together. Byron Mitchell gets through. Immediately, Familiaris starts putting massive pressure on King. King's got to close the lines off. Byron Mitchell updusts and disappears at the front end of the field. And that all of a sudden creates a situation where Luke King now finds himself, does he try and close off Julian? Or does he let Julian go and then go from there? And hopefully Julian will close up on the back of his teammate Byron. The two Durant Motorsport cars running in the number 12 and the number 1. There you can see him on the track map. That's the green. In there behind that, Luke King, that's doing all the defending work from Julian Familiaris. That's right in there behind him. Now, Luke Lucchese has found himself in a situation where he is the leading man in terms of his class. There's Luke Lucchese, and he's already taken 16 seconds out of Jan Spammers. So undoubtedly the fastest, if we have a look at the fastest lap times, let's have a look at best lap times. There you see Luke Lucchese 151.1 or 152.1, so literally lapping at a second a lap quicker at this stage of the fight than what Jan Spammers is, and starting to make quite a big gap. Mike Berrier doing a pretty decent job at this stage of the fight. Remember Jan Spammers, that's that motor car out there, the team heat together vehicle that's in that second position. Then only 6 seconds further back is Mike Berrier. In fact, there he is, pretty much in the same straight, in the same camera shot as such. On his way up the front main is Mike Berrier. And then 7 seconds further back from him is Piri Hubert, who is also out into the front main now as well. So 17 minutes of the 6 hours gone, that is where the lead battle is. But don't count out the man that's just behind that, Johan Engelbrecht. He's done a 152.9, which is within 0.4 of a second of Jan and Mike Berrier. So not being dropped there whatsoever is Johan Engelbrecht, and then just a little bit slower than that, literally a tenth only, is Willem Pienaar. So very similar lap times that's going down there if we look at the best times so far. Going back to the front end of the field, Byron Mitchell. Well, the Durant Motorsport boys do it very clinically. They've got a whole team that sits behind them doing the necessary mathematics to find out exactly who, where, how, what. And you see Julian Familiaris has now started to break away from Luke King as well. So that means that let's have a look then at that Julian Familiaris pass. Where did Julian Familiaris get past? All the way around the outside and then hard on the brakes, up on the inside line. Luke King, oh, they actually made a contact, and that is where Luke King did a massive save on that motor car. Hence the bit of a gap that there is now between Julian Familiaris and Luke King. Now the thing is, if the Durant Motorsport cars are obviously on blindingly quick paces, can this man, Luke King, can he hold on to the pace of the Durant Motorsport cars up front in the hands of Byron Mitchell and Julian Familiaris? Having said that, a man, I wouldn't say from rags to riches, but from mid-pack to closing on front pack, Raymond Duggan, he's there in that 4th position, and he's putting up pretty decent times. Let's see what his last lap time was. Last lap out, Raymond Duggan, 151.3, in fact 3/10 quicker than Luke King was. But remember, Luke King had that slight off track at that stage of the fight, and he's finding himself in a quicker situation than Mario Kowars at this stage of the fight. In fact, everybody behind Raymond Duggan, Mario, Ati, Jeff, and Yaneman Prius, are on a slower lap time than what Raymond Duggan is. So Raymond Duggan, although 11 off Luke King having been taken out of that first position and finding himself now down in 3rd, pretty decent lap times, and that's the last laps that they have done.
So Raymond Duggan sitting out there in that fourth position. He is 11 and a half seconds behind Luke King. Why? Because he's got Luke Lucchese that is in there in the Masters category. That is obviously there ahead of Raymond Duggan representing IRSA Racing Green. So Duggan is sitting out there, and he is fourth out there in class with that number 5 LMP2 motor car of his, that Dallara, working his way around. So we are nearly 21 minutes into this one. Byron Mitchell's done a personal best there of a 154.72, and so has Luke King, and Luke Lucchese is the quickest man out there with a 151.090 is Luke Lucchese. As we look at the Dotsoft racing car of Luke King, there is Luke Lucchese. He is the quickest driver out there, sitting fourth overall, and first in the Masters class is Lucchese. While he's flying the flag here for the Masters is Luke Lucchese. He's the only Master at this point in time that can hang in there with the elite drivers, which is drivers under the age of 40. Luke Lucchese for Team Pantera Racing, and he has got the Raymond Duggan in there just behind him, followed by Jan Sparmers, Mario Kowars, and obviously Mike Verrier. Now Mike Verrier is the second driver that is in the lead category, and he is in there just behind Mario Kowars. He's 4.9 seconds behind Mario Kowars as we have a look here at the Jan Sparmers. Jan Sparmers is sitting second in the Masters category, and he's 18.6 seconds behind the leader of the Masters, and that is Luke Lucchese. So that is the 000 Dallara LMP2 of Jan Sparmers. There is Dr. Mike Verrier, and he is 7 seconds behind Jan Sparmers. In the Masters is Mike Verrier. In the April 24/7 and Sujin Properties Dallara in car number 8. Then fourth in the Masters category, 9.4 seconds behind Verrier, is Peter Hubert for Team Hubert Racing Masters. That's the 22 car that's got the B&H, the Benson and Hedges color scheme on that Dallara V's. And then Johan Engelbrecht, and Johan is now busy making his way through the carousel, heading towards Canada Corner, and then Kettle Bottoms, and then towards Canada Corner. That is Johan Engelbrecht representing Team Gazoo Racing.
Well, a good comeback from him at this stage of the fight as he comes up over the hill and works his way up the main straight. And look at the length of that straight, and look at the elevation on that straight as well as he works his way down towards turn number 1.
So Engelbrecht still sitting up there in 5th position in the Masters category. He is 4.4 seconds ahead there of Willem Pinaar, who is the last driver out in the Masters category. That's at number 99 Toyota Gazoo LMP2 Dallara of Johan Engelbrecht. There is Janeman Prius. Janeman Prius is last in the elite, and I think he's also last overall. On track is Janeman Prius for Team Heap Together. That's the 71 Dallara that is making its way around. As a matter of fact, it's going down the main straight right now. And let's have a look and see. No, he's not. I talk lies. He's busy making his way down the Marble sweep as he works his way around is Janeman Prius. But another fastest lap out there, and a PB and an overall fastest lap for Byron Mitchell. He's done a 153.76. So Mitchell is really on song. The Durant Motorsport boys are sitting out there in P1 and 2 as we have a look here at the Janeman Prius, busy making his way around Road America.
So Byron Mitchell has really put Durant Motorsport on the map and put them right up front as well. Julian from the RS, can he hold onto the back of the pace of Byron Mitchell? You tend to think that they are on pretty similar race plan and technique at this stage of the fight. Both of them driving for the same team. But then again, you might find that, frankly, they've specifically put them on different settings between the two cars in the team and created a situation where they can block out the likes of Luke King and Luke Lucchese, irrespective of undercuts, overcuts, lift and coast, to end up with using one less stop. It's also possible, we've seen that happen in the past, this specific race, due to some people not being able to ride thanks to ESCOM that are as unreliable as they've always been in South Africa. And it's created a situation where Luke Lucchese and Peter van der Spey have come together. Peter van der Spey would have had one of the Bears with him as a teammate, but as we said, the Bear family on the farm and doing a bit of hunting for the weekend. So we only have Peter Hubert of the Hubert family that's out there. There might be a teammate for Peter Hubert that's also from the Hubert family that we will pick up as we go. But Luke King, the question was, can Luke King hold on to the back of Julian Harris and Byron Mitchell? He's done a pretty decent job so far. He's just done a 150.6 or 150.7, so he took a 10th out of Julian, so definitely not falling back at this stage of the fight. Well, that's the first almost half hour gone. We're going to take a short break and we will come back to you before they go for their first pit stops. We're going to hazard a guess around about, for what we've seen before, around about 58 minutes is normally where the LMP2s need to go for I wouldn't say a splash and dash, it's a full fill up and probably a non-tire change stop initially, but we will come back to you before we get to that situation and try and update you with that information as well.